The smell of sizzling meat and the soft clatter of glasses filled the backyard as the Morrison family hosted yet another barbecue. I lingered near the edges, observing my sister Olivia commanding attention as she always did. Her relatives hanging on every word. My mother's voice sliced through the afternoon chatter, precise and pointed. "Did you hear about Olivia's latest accomplishment?" she said, topping up everyone's wine glasses. "She's at the very top of her MBA class at Harvard, and already has interviews lined up with some of the biggest firms." I took a measured sip of water, bracing myself. In our household, any celebration of Olivia inevitably came with a reminder of my so-called shortcomings. "Quite the contrast to certain people," my mother continued, her gaze flicking toward me. "What exactly are you doing these days, Sophia?" Before I could respond, my father, stationed at the grill, joined in. "Still that consulting thing, right? What's it called again?" "Independent business advisory," I said softly. His chuckle heavy with condescension. My fingers traced the rim of my glass as I thought about tomorrow morning, the meeting where Sterling Corporation's board would finalize their largest acquisition of the year. A meeting where I would sit at the head of the table. "Something like that," I offered quietly. Olivia flipped her perfectly styled hair and spun in her designer sundress, catching the warm late afternoon light. "Well, I have some incredible news," she announced, practically bouncing. "I have an interview tomorrow at Sterling Corporation. They're the top consulting firm in the country, and they reached out to me personally." The family erupted in praise. Aunt Susan pulled her in for a hug. "Oh, sweetie, that's amazing. They'd be lucky to have you." "The company is notoriously selective," my father added with pride. "They say it's harder to get hired there than into Harvard." I held back a smile, recalling the pile of resumes on my desk, one of which bore Olivia's name. She had no idea that Sterling Corporation, the very company she gushed about for weeks, was mine, the business I'd built from the ground up over 10 years. While they saw me as lost, I had quietly become a force in the corporate world. "And what position is that for?" asked casually. Olivia's eyes sparkled. "Senior Strategy Consultant. Can you believe it? Right at the top," she added, laughing, then threw me a mockingly sympathetic glance. "Maybe once I'm in, I can recommend you, Sophia. I'm sure they have some entry-level roles." Mother nodded approvingly. "How thoughtful of you, dear. Heaven knows your sister could use a hand. 32 and still." Her gesture vaguely encompassed me. I thought of my corner office on Sterling Tower's top floor, with panoramic views of the city, of last month's Forbes feature naming S.J. Morgan, my professional alias, as one of the most influential CEOs under 40, complete with a cleverly shadowed photo that hid my identity. Years of building Sterling Corporation in quiet anonymity had brought me to this exact moment. "That's generous of you," I said quietly. "Good luck with your interview." Olivia smirked. "Some of us make our own luck, Sophia. You might try it sometime." The conversation drifted to cousins' new cars, uncle's golf games, and more tales of Olivia's successes. I stayed silent, letting it all pass, savoring the quiet knowledge that tomorrow would shift everything. Tonight, they still saw me as the underachiever, and I intended to remember it. As the sun sank lower, casting long shadows across the lawn, Olivia gathered everyone. Olivia made one last show of herself. "I think I'll head out early," she announced, her voice bright with anticipation. "Need to be sharp for tomorrow. Sterling Corporation is sending someone personally for the interview." "The elusive S.J. Morgan," my father said, intrigued. "No one even knows what they look like." "They'll be thrilled to meet me," Olivia said with a confident smile. "By tomorrow, I'll be part of Sterling's executive team. Maybe then you'll finally have something to brag about, Mom." My mother dabbed at a deliberately staged tear. "We're already so proud, sweetheart. At least one of our daughters is turning out right." I glanced at my watch. 14 hours until Olivia's interview. 14 hours until everything they assumed about me would shatter. Gathering my things, I muttered vague excuses about preparing for an early morning meeting. "Oh yes, your little consulting gig," my mother said, waving it off. Don't forget your share of Dad's birthday gift. Olivia's already handled most of it, as usual. I smiled politely, not mentioning that my so-called little consulting gig had made me a millionaire well before my 30th birthday. Let them cling to their assumptions. Tomorrow would teach them the truth. As I walked to my modest sedan, a conscious choice to avoid showing off at family gatherings, I heard Olivia's voice cut across the yard. Such a waste. Can't even get a real job. I grinned inwardly, thinking of the Sterling Corporation nameplate on my desk. S.J. Morgan, Chief Executive Officer. Tomorrow, Olivia would discover what a real career looked like, and why she would never hold one in my company. The next morning, I settled into my private office at Sterling Tower, the city skyline glowing with sunrise. Arriving early was routine, but today felt charged. My Armani suit seemed like armor, my heels striking the marble floor with deliberate authority as I reviewed the day with my executive assistant, Marcus. Your sister's interview is scheduled for 9 a.m., he said, sliding a folder across my desk. She's already in the lobby 20 minutes early. The marketing team reports she's been posting on LinkedIn about her upcoming executive position at Sterling. I raised an eyebrow. Bold, isn't she? Marcus grinned. She's been telling reception she'll be renovating this floor once she takes charge. Interesting, I murmured, opening the folder to scan Olivia's resume. On paper it was impressive. Harvard MBA, internships at elite firms, glowing recommendations. But a closer look revealed the truth. Internships arranged through family connections, recommendations from my father's golf buddies. The board is curious why you're conducting this interview personally, Marcus said. Call it quality assurance, I replied, straightening my jacket. How many interviews did you schedule before mine? 3. All with senior partners who've been briefed and will be rigorously critical. At exactly 9 a.m., I watched through the one-way glass as Olivia stepped onto the executive floor, dressed in a sharp Chanel suit. Confidence radiated from her every move, tinged with arrogance, as she greeted the first interviewer. Over the next 2 hours, I observed her carefully cultivated facade begin to crumble. Each interviewer dismantled her rehearsed answers, exposed gaps in her knowledge, and challenged every claim on her resume. By the time she reached the final stage, with me, her polished composure had eroded. Send her in, I instructed Marcus. Olivia entered my office, her eyes widening at the sweeping view, the sophisticated decor, and the undeniable signs of power she had long coveted. She didn't see me yet. My chair remained turned to the windows, overlooking the city. Please take a seat, Miss Morrison, I said, my voice calm but edged with authority. I maintained a calm, professional tone, saying nothing as she took her seat, nervously smoothing the folds of her skirt. Thank you for meeting with me, Mr. Morgan. I understand your time is extremely valuable, she said. I slowly swiveled my chair around. Actually, it's Miss Morgan. Sophia Morgan. Recognition hit her like a punch. Her face went pale. Sophia. Hello. I smiled pleasantly. I imagine it's a bit of a shock to see your supposedly unemployable sister running the very company you've been dreaming of joining. Her mouth opened and closed, words failing her as all her rehearsed answers evaporated. But this can't be. You're just some small-time consultant, right? I gestured toward the wall behind me. Awards, accolades, and magazine covers chronicling Sterling Corporation's explosive growth. I built this company from the ground up while you and our parents mocked my choices. Every time you boasted about your MBA, I was closing 7-figure deals. Every time Mom called me a disappointment, I was being recognized as one of the most influential CEOs under 40. You lied to us, she shrieked. No, Olivia. You deceived yourselves. You were so convinced I would fail that you never bothered to look beyond your assumptions. I pulled out my phone, displaying my banking app. That birthday gift money Mom mentioned. Just transferred my share. More than you make in a year, but to me, it's trivial. Frustration and disbelief clouded her eyes. So now what? Are you going to humiliate me? Tell everyone. I don't need to say a word. Your interview spoke volumes. 3 senior partners independently recommended against hiring you. Too arrogant, too unprepared, too entitled. You set me up. I gave you exactly what you wanted. An interview at Sterling Corporation. It's not my fault you weren't ready. I stood, signaling the end of our meeting. I suggest you look elsewhere, Olivia, and maybe invest in learning real skills, beyond your dad's golf club network. She rose unsteadily, her designer suit suddenly looking like a costume. Do Mom and Dad know? They will soon enough. I'm sure you'll recount this memorable experience yourself. I pressed the intercom. Marcus, please escort Ms. Morrison out and cancel tonight's family dinner. I have a board meeting that requires my attention. As she was led away, her sobs echoed down the hallway. Within the hour, my phone lit up with messages from family. Mom first. What is this? Olivia is heartbroken. Then Dad. How could you embarrass her like this? We raised you better. I responded to the group chat with one line. You all race to define success. Congratulations, you've finally seen it. Perhaps now you'll understand what real achievement looks like. Then I turned off my phone and returned to running my billion-dollar company. Reality would sink in on their schedule, not mine. In the following weeks, the family dynamics shifted entirely. Snide remarks about my career vanished, replaced by awkward silence and cautious glances. Olivia settled for a mid-level role at a smaller firm. Her dreams of executive status crushed. The family stopped hosting barbecues. The ultimate satisfaction came 3 months later when Forbes published a full profile on me, complete with my photo and my real identity. Ajay Morgan. I sent copies to every family member. The headline read, "The Silent Success. How one woman built an empire while her family believed she was failing." Sometimes, true success doesn't need an announcement. It speaks for itself, especially from the CEO's chair of a billion-dollar company.